Well, it looks like things are working. Okay, so we've got a live stream, and frankly, my purpose for streaming this morning was I just upgraded OBS, and I was just really wanting to see if it was going to represent an improvement in terms of the um, well, obviously some of the features of OBS, but also not having as many dropouts was kind of the goal. So bear with me for half a second while I make some slight adjustments. I'm switching to my other screen so I can make some mods here to my webcam. So always like to give myself a couple of minutes at the start to get my ducks in a row. So if you're one of the unlucky people who tuned in extra early, you might be disappointed. But cool. Okay, it looks like things are working as advertised. And so with that, I'm going to just get busy. And hopefully what we'll do today is basically two shots. Let me show what we have going on here in terms of our setup. So we've got this situation where Mel's about to stuff the garment into the tree. And as you can see, we've got a bit of a pencil test that I knocked out last night. And there's some things about this, the way I blocked in the animation for this right here, that I'd like to go over because it was really quite efficient and intuitive process, and I was surprisingly happy with how it turned out. And we can probably follow that same track on one of the next shots, because after he stuffs it in the tree, he kind of he sort of slaps his hands together, kind of like this. Well, that's that kind of thing. And so when we get to this shot right here, we'll go ahead and block in the animation the same way I did on this shot that we just looked at. So now I need to move this over to my other screen and jump back down to Krita. So probably should be able to see my browser just in case we have some viewers and or chat going on. Okay, so here's what we have, and what I was talking about in terms of the animation technique. We can kind of apply some of the lessons learned in the ink and paint process as well. So one thing I do want to do on this particular shot is go ahead and block in the probably actually the next two shots. So in other words, I'm going to go ahead and say stuff this in here. Okay, boom, we're going to jump cut to a close-up. So let's get our layers named a little more intelligently. So I always use BKGD for background, and we'll call this for now we'll call this pencil test. Cool beans. Very good. And so on the pencil test, we'll go ahead and chop in a keyframe and also one here, because I want to do that jump cut. Actually, I think because I'm going to do it as a jump cut, let's just take the background, hit the A key, and actually before I go too much further, as you can see, the background is kind of massive. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and crop this. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I want to see if, for Krita, I can crop this to the size of the frame. Okay, I can crop the image. If I don't do that, happily, Krita does keep track of the pixel data that's outside of the frame. So the question I'm having right now is, if I go ahead and crop it here, does that also crop it here so that all of this information is lost forever? The reason I asked that question is that I'd actually like to use the sky for another shot when I switch to a completely different point of view. Now, what I'm going to do is save my work and let's just learn together whether that's how Krita works or not, because I really don't know. So if I go to this keyframe, okay, and then I say image trim to current layer. Actually, trim to image size. Okay, so now if I hit the A key, you can see it's cropped. The question is it cropped here? And it is. So actually, for me, that's bad news. So what I'm going to do right now is reload this guy. Actually, let's just hit undo. We probably can just hit undo. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to add another keyframe here and then move this over here like that. Okay? And then this shot. So now I can go ahead and crop it, because all I'm going to do is scale this one up. You'll see what I mean here in just a second. So I'm going to take this layer and trim it to the image size. So now it's cropped, but that's okay because we're just doing this jump cut like that. And I'm going to go ahead and leave these extraneous pixels in there. And this one, actually I think I'll leave that as it is. Okay, so that gives us our next two shots quite nicely. And let's see if anybody's out there. If you guys have any comments about the quality of the stream or whether you're getting any dropouts or anything like that, let me know, because I upgraded OBS to the latest 26.0.2, which actually technically is not the latest because there is an update available, but it's a much newer version than what I had been using. And I'm just curious if it's going to work a little bit better or a little bit worse. Okay, so now I'm going to jump to the pencil test layer. As you can see, we've got Mel walking up. Let's go ahead and switch this to actual size, and so you can kind of see better what's the haps. Okay. So Mel walks up there, and then what I want to do is just have a shot where we have him stuffing the garment into the tree. So let me look at, I tell you what, let's do this. Let's take this and kind of likewise scale it up, just so it serves as a kind of a guide, right? Probably something like that. Okay, and actually this is good because this speaks to the technique that I was mentioning a moment ago in terms of how I did the animation. Here's what I did. Basically, you block in your character, and if we can assume that your staging is decent, then what that means is that your character can be read in silhouette. In other words, if this was totally black, filled in black, you would be able to tell what's going on. Okay? Well, one of the happy characteristics of that situation is that by definition it means that your character is sort of spread out, you might say. So in other words, if the hand is in the picture, you're not really going to have the hand like this. It's hard to read what's going on with that hand because it's in front of my face, right? Whereas if the hand's over here, it's easy to see what's going on. And typically with animation, you want to use staging that is easy to read, right? And so, by the way, I'm looking over here to see if anybody's out there. Identify yourself. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is show you what I was talking about earlier. The idea is to do forward kinematics and kind of work out from the larger to the smaller. So in this case, what's going to happen is he's going to lean in and stuff the garment into the tree. Okay? So just to make things a little simpler here or easier to read, I'm going to go ahead and add this bit of stuff to represent the garment, which the garment is a white garment that's covered with ink and happens to have red stripes. So we're just going to scribble this in, just add a splash of color so we can just kind of see what's going on. And in fact, to make it easier to see against the tree, I'm also going to scribble in some color to the rest of this stuff. Okay, so this is just so I can see what's going on. Okay, the specific colors don't matter a bit because obviously this is going to be inked and painted. Okay, so what was I talking about in terms of thinking about forward kinematics and working out from the larger to the smaller? Well, here's what I meant. If he's going to lean into the tree, then we know that his entire body is going to bend at the knee. Therefore, if I hit the A key now after making a selection of everything but his lower leg, I can have him lean in like that. Okay? And now I say, well, yeah, but I kind of want a tween there. So now if we turn on our onion skins, which I usually don't do, but in this case I'm going to. And by the way, I'm going to save my work, save early, save often. Okay, so now we have the same selection. So now I can put the knee there and just split the difference. Whoops. Sorry guys, that's not what was supposed to happen right there. I was supposed to be on this frame. Okay, so I'm going to drag this back here so I can create a modified version of it like that. Okay? So now you've got this. You say, well, yeah, but that's not quite right because his body's going to bend down a little bit too. You're correct. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this key alone, but on the next one, I'm going to change my selection. So again, this is forward kinematics. This is the opposite of inverse kinematics. Okay? He's going to be bending at the waist. So we'll do this. And now I'm going to do the same thing again, where I'm going to duplicate it here and duplicate it here. This area here, so the whole sequence plays back. Got it? And then you say, well, wait a second, Dave, that's not right, because his arm would be reaching up into the tree, right? Well, actually, I'm going to say, I'm going to start here. And what I'm actually going to do is roll this back. Okay. So here I think I want to split the difference and go like that. Okay. And now when I say working from the larger to the smaller, here's what I mean. His whole arm moved, but actually his lower arm needs to move as well. I want his lower arm to drag behind. So therefore, I'm going to put this kind of sort of close to where it was a moment ago. And then even more here. And again, all we have to do is get the basic positioning right. Okay. And actually, the way this worked out, I think it probably would be good to just grab this whole area and use the straight arm again, because what this does is it's going to create a feeling like you're really, again, we're talking about being able to read the animation. He's going to really reach his hand back and jam it into the tree. And this is only happening, admittedly, we're at 8 frames a second, but this is only happening over 5 frames. So it's going to be a pretty crisp movement, I would say. Okay, now what you see is it's all too flowy, all right? We need to have some holds so that the audience has a moment to read what the heck is going on. And that is really the read point right there. So I'm going to jump this guy forward 2 frames. Boom. Okay, yeah. And I think that this is obviously going to disappear into the tree. And I think, let's take his whole body. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking that whole movement of leaning in and just really exaggerating it to punch it up like so. Okay. Frankly, it could be that going even forward 1 more frame would work. So now what I'm going to do is start here and just grab this area so we can loop those frames. Boom. Stuff. Okay. Now, it doesn't look the greatest ever because of the transition from here. So I'm going to look at how it flows out of the previous shot, actually. Okay, so yeah, we actually have a major problem here, come to think of it. He's going to bend down. And here, okay, so this is a little embarrassing. The reality is all this motion, and let's just see. And I'm going to go ahead and put in some white to represent the garment. Okay, and then if you can believe this, what we need to do now is actually ruthlessly get rid of all of these. And I'm going to click remove frames and pull, which does essentially a ripple edit. Pulls everything, closes the gap, if you will. Okay, so jump cut. Yeah, that's all we need. So yeah, it's kind of surprising how often that happens, that you actually Fucci Luigi, hello from Italy. Hey, Fucci Luigi, hello to you from the USA. Indiana, where we are being completely smashed by COVID-19. The numbers are off the chart. It is ridiculous. We're losing 3,000 people a day. But that's why here in the States, at least for me, I'm glad the election turned out the way it did, because I think we need to move in a more collectivist direction and realize that we're all in this together. So that's my only political statement for today. All right, so there it is. He bends over. Poof. Okay, and so now, once we have that, let's change this to probably, boy, when it's all said and done, I'm going to go ahead and give this 96 frames, because boom. Okay, so the question is, how long does it take the audience to digest what just took place? Boom. And I would say, half second. All right, so here we're going to put another keyframe. And actually, this is kind of wrong. Well, it's only wrong in the sense that in the background what we need is a silhouette of the tree. So let me go ahead and just smack that in there. So I'm going to hit the G key and just kind of go like this. Like that. Actually, silly me, I'm having a dyslexia moment. I actually got that backwards. Interestingly enough, let me go back here. We really, actually what we need is this tree right here. Yeah. Okay, so let's save our work and just pull that out of. I'm going to switch back to this screen. And let's go ahead and let's pull up 265. So file, open, minus 265. And there it is. Open that. Yeah, that's what we needed right there. So there's the, here's the tree. I guess there's, let's take this transform mask, turn it off, grab this layer. We're just going to go copy layer, and then we can jump back over here and paste layer. Simple. And there's the tree. Okay, and I'm going to take this key here. I'm going to hit Control Insert and drag this key to here. And then hit the A key, and as you can see, I think what we'll do, just to be safe, is probably something like that. And therefore, I just kind of want to, I guess we'll go ahead and get it in there where we can really see it. Given that, that means our next shot is not going to be that tight of a close-up, and so I'm going to go to my background right here, and what I want to do is essentially just paint this tree out. So what I'm going to do is hit the G key, sample the sky, take this out. Obviously we got a little bit of a color problem, and then just grab my blur brush, hit the B key, nice big blur, and just blend that. Blend, blend, blend. And that's fine. Okay? So now, what we can do here is just, it's actually tempting to bake it down, but actually I'm going to wait. I'm just going to call this layer tree and leave it on another layer so that I don't have the potential problem of needing to resize it later, and then it's too late. So, what do we need here? Well, let's go back and look at our storyboard and find out. So transition, boom. This is what we're after. You see Mel smacking his hands together with the tree in the foreground. So what we have in terms of the framing of the current shot is not exactly right, but it's not too far off. So let's switch back to here. Okay. And so we're essentially just framing this a little wider than was indicated in the initial storyboard. Okay, so if he stuffed it in here, he would be something like, actually, you know what, let's show him moving. Yeah, we're gonna show him moving. So okay, cool. So here's how we'll do it. Let's grab this and move that down like that. And so this is just a proxy representing his head, right? Okay, Control Shift A, so we undo the selection. B key, so we've got a brush. Okay, and then here's Mel. He's got his little headband that he always wears. Okay. And he stuffed it in with his left hand, didn't he? Okay, so did I just do what I think I did? I did. I just created the quintessential mistake in Krita, which is, and I do it all the time, is I just drew all this not realizing I was in the wrong layer. So here's how we fix it. We select that, hit Control X, Control V. Now it's in a separate layer, and we can grab that keyframe and drag it to where it should have been in the first place. And then we grab this layer that we just created through the cut and paste and delete it. And now, as you can see, his head is back up in the pencil test layer where it belongs. Okay, and what I was trying to do is, if if he's leaning in and he's stuffing it in there with his left hand, then I think maybe his head would be turned more this way. And so we would have something like this, and I am well aware that the framing of this is probably going to be changed ultimately, but maybe not, because what we might actually do is use 2 shots. So here's what I mean by that. All right, I'm going to hit the B key. I'm going to actually hit Control-Shift-A to select none, and then I'm going to hit the B key, and now this is, boom, that's his shoulder. So his shoulder is, boom, stuffing that in there behind the tree. And as we know, he's kind of bent over, but he is on a hill. He actually had to walk up a small hill to get there. So so therefore it kind of makes sense that he's and actually I could totally see his legs being kind of like this, because he is up on a hillside. So that looks pretty good. All right, let's zoom in a bit there. And there he stuffed it in the tree, and then he's going to stand up. So now how are we going to do that? Well, what I want to do is see what I can keep and what I need to throw away. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, we know he's going to bend at the hips. So therefore, let's go ahead and have him stand up like this. Okay? That just gives me a basic bead on his body weight. And now what we can do is hit the GE, and I'm just going to very judiciously erase the parts of it that are going to make it confusing to see what's going on. A key, and I think, so if I can reuse the head, I want to reuse the head. So it's very tempting to say he's looking down and now he's going to rise up, and that's true, but if I can have him still looking down, sort of satisfied at the hole in the tree, then that's better, because that means I can draw the head once, get it colored and painted, inked and painted. Hey, Inio-san, how you doing, man? And not have to redraw the head in a different position. So if the acting is just as good either way, then there's no point redrawing his head just to give myself extra work to do, you know. So therefore, we don't want to be in erase mode. Okay, so therefore, all right, so since Inio-san just showed up, I'll go ahead and run the shot. Let's do a 30-second recap. So back here, where we're at is Mel tried to jump on the monkey, and because he had already spilled ink all over the front of his shirt, he gets up and realizes to his horror that he just got ink all over Asher's garment. And now he's in a bit of a conundrum. Hi, Ages. I don't know how to say that. And so he's thinking about what to do about it. This is a bit of a conundrum. He'll never miss it. So he walks over to the tree and then goes to stuff the garment in the tree. So that's where we're at now. So this shot is combining several shots into one. Okay, and now I don't think I saw enough of a transition here because I never registered this shot mentally. So that means it probably needs to stay on the screen for two frames instead of one. Let me just look at that. Yeah, actually even longer. I'm thinking maybe 3. Boom. And then perhaps a tween. So right here, let's make sure we're in the pencil test layer. So now, again, working from the large to the small, this is what that would look like. We know he's going to bend at the hip, so let's bend him at the hip, like so. If you wanted to, you could turn on the onion skin so you can see the transition here, like that. I'm not a huge onion skin fan, but okay, and then here we know his arm's going to be back down at his side, so therefore, just allowing this rough pencil test to be our guide, let's, that's not going to be able to be very easily read. And that's going to be too much of a change. So I would say we'll just let his arms stretch a bit. And let's put this here. Nope, that's too choppy. So we definitely want just a bloop. Yeah. So then here, hitting Control Shift A. Thanks, Unio-san. I appreciate that. All right, B key. It doesn't look like, I tell you, the good news today is that it looks like the new version of OBS is working better. I don't think I'm getting the dropouts. I have not actually seen it disconnect yet today. Okay, so keep it simple, like so. So we'll just keep it simple. And then what we're going to do is he's got to slap his hands together. So boom. I'm thinking, let me feel how the timing is right there. Okay, so on 36, let's take this and watch what we're going to do here. I'm going to hit the A key, and then I'm just going to do a mirror horizontal. So I'm just going to flip it. Okay. All right. Okay, and let me think about this one. I'm going to go ahead and smack out 3 keys really fast here. So I'm going to hit the G key and the E key. That puts me in freehand path tool in erase mode, which allows me to do lasso erasing. Boom. Lasso erasing. Okay. And now I'm hitting B key E again, which switches me back to my brush, but back out of erase mode. So I find myself hitting G E, B E a lot. Okay. So now, again, I want to have this easily read in silhouette. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's just say we want his shoulders to be easy to see. And I'm going to actually just whip his hand way back that way and put this one. Just get the basic shapes happening here. Okay, let me check the timing. Bloop. Okay, so boom, bam. So let's go. I want it to be pretty brisk, so let's do this. Okay, so GE, get rid of this, get rid of this, BE. Okay, now watch this. Okay, his arm's a little long. Let me fix that. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, boom, boom. Okay, and I'm deliberately working the turns of his wrist so that the straight line is clearly going this way or this way, depending on the sort of the attitude of the hands. I don't want to put too much emphasis on how much hands matter to your storytelling. Some people, I think, maybe make too big of a deal out of that, but you know, have his thumb kind of whipped back like that. But you can see this arc right here kind of sells the idea that, you know, he's really doing this is what's going on. Okay. Okay, so now I think I'm going to add one more key. Boom, boom. Okay. So here, we're going to do the opposite. So here's what I'm going to do. Watch this. I'm going to grab this arm and just get it out of the way so it's not distracting us. Now I'm going to grab this arm and I'm going to kind of feel in my mind where his upper arm would be. Just say, yeah, you know what? I think it probably belongs about there. Okay. Now I'm going to grab this one, bring it back, and again, just kind of think about where it would be, like that. Okay, and then actually, you know what? That's not going to be readable. Let's straighten it out a little bit so we can then grab his hand and go like that. Now that's not quite perfect because really, what really should be going on is what I was talking about earlier. This curve should go that way. That's better. Okay, and then here. Okay, so now we should be able to go smack, smack, smack. So let's just repeat these keys and see if it worked. Okay, and then what we'll probably do is jump to a jump cut again. So he stuffs it in the tree. Boom. That's pretty good. He actually does this too long, though. Okay, so bop, bop, bop. Yeah, that's too much. Oops. Well, that's that. Okay, so then here, what we're going to do is we're going to hot water is today's tasty beverage, by the way, in case you were keeping score. Okay, so I want to have another shot here. I want to have another jump cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. What I'm going to do is each of these layers have a keyframe in them, and to do what I'm about to do, it's important that your layers have at least one animation key. If you don't have an animation key in one of your layers, then what I'm about to do will not work for that layer, which is this. I'm going to grab all three of these guys and hit Control G to place them in a group. Because we have, whoops, that was not supposed to happen. Rats and mice. I didn't want that to happen. Let me fix that right now. There we go. Okay, so now what I can do is grab the group and do a scale operation, hit the A key, and this is really a gamble because Krita's a little stupid about remembering what the animation keys are that it's supposed to be showing me. It always, when you do a translation on a group of layers, what Krita shows you in the preview is the very first layer of the shot. Well, is there a way to mitigate that problem? There actually is, and I'll just pause here right now and show you what the mitigate. See, okay, there you go. I don't know how much work I just lost because I've been buzzing along here and I don't remember the last time I saved this, so I might be in trouble. I might be in big trouble. But if I am, I am. You know, stuff happens. What shot was that? 266, I think. So I'm up on the other screen. So sorry about that, guys. 266? Yeah, I believe it was 266 I was working on. Let's see what the situation is. Okay, the situation is very, very bad. Very bad. I just lost a bunch of work. But that's okay. I mean, I know what I'm doing, and it'll be pretty easy to reproduce it. Importing the tree and everything was lost. So anyway, I will say this, folks, and I probably should pause the live stream in order to do the recovery work because it's going to require me to do a little extra thinking. But hey, it's good for you guys to see. I have gotten in the habit over the last year of hitting Control S in Krita so often that I literally can't remember if I did it because every single step I take, I hit Control S and save my work. Okay, today is the exception, and I will guarantee you the reason it's the exception is because I'm doing this live stream and I'm talking to you. So the fact that I'm talking to you guys caused me to make the one critical mistake that can cost you a lot of time, and you just saw it happen. Not going to get mad about it, but it is a little disappointing, and I should probably get offline in order to fix it. So with that, I will say The main purpose of this live stream actually was just to test OBX. It looks like it did disconnect for a moment, but for the most part, it's been quite reliable. Maybe sometime very soon I'll post something about maybe a regular time to live stream. So if you have an opinion about that, like what would be a good, you know, what day or time is a good time to be live streaming, that would be interesting to know. But okay, let's see what I can do here. I'm going to try one thing here real quick. Now there shouldn't be anything. Yeah, there's nothing on the clipboard, so I guess we'll go ahead and try this. Yeah, that's the wide shot. So anyway, let's just go through and start fixing things. Okay, let's just deal with it. All right, so here's what I did. G key, sample this, get rid of that. Get this brush, boom, 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 boom. Fix that. Okay, and now here's the step that was glaringly absent a moment ago, which is Control S, right? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we got to load up 265. So File, Open, boom, 265. So what time is it? It's 9:35. I'm going to see how quickly I can recover this. All right. So open the autosave. Yeah, for my purposes, I guess I could open the autosave. Okay, what we're going to do is grab this layer, copy it, paste it. Okay. A key, shrinky, 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 something like that. And again, Control S. All right, so this needs to have a keyframe here, Control Insert, and it needs to not have a keyframe here because obviously we don't want the tree there. Weekends, mid-morning time, perhaps. Okay, this is not actually a bad time. Now, for me, it is mid-morning. This is, I don't know where you are, Inio-san, but this is 9:36 in the morning for me. Okay, so let's just go here. And now we have this shot, and go back to our pencil test, and we'll actually save some time here by not making the mistake I made before. All right, I'm going to hit the B key, pencil, and here we go. Circle. There's Mel's hair. Okay, so now, because we already did this once, and I'm going to shrink this just a little bit. All right, because we already did this once, I can actually remember a couple of my steps and just do them in a different order that doesn't require as much fiddling around and exploration. Meaning, he stuffs it in the tree. I believe it was about a half a second for him to stand up like so and sort of examine his work. I suppose his head might shrink just a tiny bit doing that. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and here we would have said mirror horizontally, so he's looking the other way. And I'm going to go ahead and go in here right now and just put some dots and a little bit of expression to just kind of remind myself of what the orientation of his face is. Okay, so here it would be something like this, looking down. Here it would be pretty much the same. Kind of a self-satisfied smile. And I would say maybe just a little more up right there. Okay, U.S. Central Time. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Chicago time. All right, so here, as we recall, I guess we had this a little closer to the tree. So I'm going to just deal with this arm for the moment. So stuffs it in. And, you know, I'm going to say the second time around, maybe we're even going to improve the acting slightly. Okay, so this is kind of like that because he's leaning over. That's his belt, and I said that his one knee would be kind of leaning forward. So now, actually, technically, that's really wrong because in the previous shot, it's obviously the case that he was kind of squatted down like this. So let's do it more this way. And some of you are out there right now going, Dave, you better save your work. You don't want to lose it again. Okay. Lean back and then pick this up just a little bit. So Control S. So I'm not sure I like this one as well, because I really had a good strategy for making sure I wasn't going to have to do too much redrawing. I guess that's okay. So this is going to be, so I'm kind of doing this more the traditional way where I'm actually just drawing the keyframes, which, frankly, is kind of more fun, actually. It's not quicker. It's not quicker, but it is more fun. Okay, so we're going to have this hand out like that. Okay. I would say, yeah, later, dude. Okay, I'm going to say here, this tree really needs to be bigger. Like that. Okay. Save our work, save early, save often. B key. Okay, and what we did was we had these keys every the thing I don't like is his head here. This was a bit of a kludge, so I'm going to actually just erase his head and redraw it because I need that kind of fresh perspective. So I'm going to say what I'm looking for here is a change in orientation. And let's get rid of this. Now ultimately these keys are going to be, these two keys are going to use the same head, so I'm going to draw the head one time. And what I'm after is something like this. A very happy-go-lucky kind of expression. Okay, his chin's a little bit long, and I would say his mouth probably needs to be a little lower on his face. Get that kind of long-faced teenager look thing going on. Okay, so then there's that. Okay. And if we turn on the onion skins, we can see the other face. So now what I want to do is check and see. Let me see something. Yeah, I would say this is a little large too. That's too small. That's too big. So file, save. Okay, so here's what we want to accomplish now. What I'm going to do here, actually here, is trace over this, because it's going to be, I'm going to need that onion skin as a guide for the very next shot, which is going to be a close-up of the same darn thing. So, yeah, I know I'm making faces here. I'm smiling. That's what animators do when they're drawing a character's expression. They tend to mirror that same expression. Okay, save, save, save. Okay, so now this is what I was trying to do when everything blew up so ingloriously. Was go here, here, and then hit the A key, and I was going to show how to mitigate the problem you're seeing right there. I'm not going to bother with that, but let's just scale this up. Probably something like that, and let's just see what happens. Ooh, that was bad. We missed that by a mile, but that's okay because that did the trick. That's what we're after. Okay, so there's your jump cut. Yep. Okay, that's it. I'm going to sign off, and thanks for tuning in. We'll do it again real soon. And as you guys know, there will be more later. But it's been a good hour, so I'll be back.